Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating it's Tuesday, July 17th, 2018. In both the Lynn life and the Jamie body mind, the authorized souls remain only child souls from the deeper, denser dimensions, and all other souls from all other dimensions, as long as the souls are already participating in the work to complete the many assignments given to the Search for Truth community by wiser minds above all of us, and are already living by all the other rules already given to the Search for Truth community by wiser minds above all of us. Those rules, of course, including the essential element of all of us looking up to wiser minds above all of us, asking up what now in order to fulfill some aspect of the soul plan, and then of course to do what wiser minds above say to do, because until we do what they say we should do, they don't give it up. There's just no point in resisting. It's crazy to resist. These are higher powers. So friends, we really want to try to get through to you guys who continue to argue with this. These are higher powers. They actually have power over our lives. They actually have power over our lives. To argue with them is demented. It's really, really, really crazy to argue with higher powers. What now in order to reestablish upward flow? They're not interested in that.
No, not interested.
What now in order to help well-intentioned guardian angels do their jobs? They want to do that. They want well-intentioned guardian angels to be able to do their jobs. Okay, well, in order to do their jobs, well-intentioned guardian angels are going to have to get their channels up out of the drac.
That's true.
Be facing forward, at least know which way is up. How about that? Which way is up? Ooh, back there. All right, we can spin turn. Now, what now in order to help well-intentioned guardian angels get their channels up and face forward, because it looks to me like we're facing backward.
That's true.
Let's rotate forward. Pump up dead children from the even deeper, denser dimensions, straight up the spines, up to wherever up appears to be. And ask what now in order to help well-intentioned guardian angels get their channels up so that they can hear wiser minds above them, so that they can do their jobs. Well, they think it's too hard for the guardian angels to have to do it themselves without a current moving up, and we certainly agree with that. What now in order to reestablish upward flow? Does anything matter more than survival of the truth? There does seem to be an opening now. There's not resistance to the evacuation flow. The evacuees want to go up. They don't like those dirty little people walking through their space.
No, that's true.
Interesting. Well, how do you propose to get people to flow upward? Everything is sentient. How can we get sentiences to flow upward other than taking the ones who want to move up, who are already dead? They're aware that they're dead. They're trying to get to the light. Can we not just accept that they do come with dirt on their feet, and so be it? What now?
You know what it feels like?
No.
It kind of feels like currents are already pushing us
backward.
around backwards again.
Right. That's what's happening. It's a strong current.
That's
Can anybody up there see how strong this current is, that when we rotate to face forward, that immediately the currents begin to push us backward? And if it's this way for us, we can assume it's this way for this entire dimension, or at least this dimension of this planet, or this planet in this dimension.
That's true.
Everybody rotating backwards, looking at that which is unhelpful. Everybody's afraid to look at the disaster that's dead ahead, and we can understand that. Hello, my old friend, afraid to look at the disaster that's dead ahead.
That's true.
There's still a disaster that's dead ahead, and that's the reality of it. When ecosystems start to collapse, Things are falling apart.
That's true.
For whom is the message? Why do you ask? Who can see the currents? I see people who aren't acknowledging that they can see the currents, but I can feel that they see it, and they're hoping, they'd feel well-intentioned. They're hoping that their assumption is wrong.
That's the feeling.
The feeling is, well, I see that, but I want it to be something other than what it looks like it is. So I'm just going to continue to research this a little bit more. Here's this little guy, he's going, I know what's happening. It's like in Ground Zero Planet Earth, where they keep studying the causes of red tide, or the causes of toxicity in Lake Okeechobee.
Yes.
Studying all these things where it's blatantly obvious that the cause is, for example, both of those, red tide and Okeechobee, toxicity is effluent runoff. We've got to stop fertilizing. This whole idea of inorganic fertilizers, it was worth a try, maybe, I don't know. But it's proven to be a bad idea, and we've got to stop it. We've got to go back to sustainable agriculture. It was worth a try. It's a 100-year experiment in chemically supported food production, and it destroys the environment. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's destroying the air, it's destroying the water, it's destroying the soil. I think that's complete destruction. We can stop it. We can say, got it, it doesn't work. And let's go back to something that works better. For whom is the message, and why do you ask?
Oh, I think I might get the connection.
I don't. What is it?
You know how the current plan in the disaster in Okeechobee on Ground Zero is just to dam up the water, stop the water from flowing out of Okeechobee, leave all the poison that shouldn't be there in the first place stuck there instead of letting it flow out?
Right.
Could that be...
As if that's even possible.
As if that's even possible?
Right.
Kind of like how presences upstairs are trying to stop all the dead people from coming up. Because they say, I don't want that poison coming up from my dimension.
We understand, and
I do.
Let he or she who is without sin cast the first stone, because we plugged up portals in our healing practice when we would be doing space clearings, and we would find these portals coming up from the dark depths, spewing bad energy into the places. We would just cover them up, cap them off. We've done that many, many, many times, and now in retrospect it's obvious what we should have done is just create an exhaust tube so they would go through the space, not to it, through it, up into the light, that they were just dead presences from the depths trying to get to God.
That's true.
That's what we should have done, but we didn't do it.
That's true.
And so, no judgment.
No. And someone's talking about frame of reference.
Go on.
And how when we don't have the frame of reference for the solution, or even if we don't have the frame of reference for the problem that needs the solution, it becomes a lot harder to know what the right thing to do is.
Everybody's got the wrong frame of reference.
That's true.
They say crazy things like, things just can't get worse, when what's happened is their phone battery died.
That's what they're talking about.
So they lack imagination, because things could be a lot worse than a dead phone battery. Nobody's bombing us, so that would be one way to make it worse. People bombing us, right? We could bomb ourselves. We could have a lack of easily available food. That would be worse. We could have no safe place to sleep. That would be worse.
That's true.
We could have no easy way to get clean. That would be worse. We could have no easily available, reasonably safe water.
That's true.
That would be worse. There's a lot of things that could be a lot worse than a dead phone battery. A dead phone battery is a dead phone battery. I think the world will still turn.
That's true.
We've got the wrong frames of reference. For whom is the message, and why do you ask? And they're talking about that message about Bob's your uncle, the expression Bob's your uncle, and what it seems to be is a reference to nepotism.
That's true.
Somebody in Ireland a long time ago got a job because his Uncle Bob was the Prime Minister.
That's true.
And it just means, look, nepotism is alive and well, and we believe this is probably a reference to the Vanavanov Empire, although we could be wrong.
That's true.
For whom is the message, and why do you ask? Well, there's a big opening now. It's very, very, very quiet, but there's a big opening, so let's just squeeze up from wherever Pan is working below. Clear his space, because all the dead people, they're there and they're lined up down the hall outside his office.
That's true.
Just with their sleeping bags and whatnot, waiting for the lift, so we can provide updraft and run it right up the spines and up to the highest presence we can connect with right now, who knows that it matters whether or not we're facing forward in life. That's helpful.
That's really helpful.
There we go. Now let's intend to turn around and face forward, face the disaster. Friends, if you aren't aware of the disaster that's coming at us as a collective, then you're ignoring it, and it's actually better to remember that we're going to die and we're going to be held accountable for our mistreatment of this planet.
That's true.
We as a collective, and also each of us as individuals. And we can do more. We can live more gently on the land. We can. There's a lot we can do to be more respectful of other life around us. And it's incumbent upon each of us to take those actions, each of us for ourselves. We're going to die. Friends, we're all going to die. We're all going to be held accountable. Please focus. Now I see people drifting away and clicking off and doing other things, but we're still going to all die. We're going to die.
I'm going to die.
You're going to die. We're all going to die. And when we die, we're held accountable for what we did and did not do. Now, what are each of us as individuals going to do to make it right? See, they don't even want to think about that.
No, they don't.
They want to pretend they aren't going to die, maybe.
That's true.
That's a pretty profound disconnect. And on the one hand, somebody's saying, well, if we're already dead, how will it make a difference?
Someone did ask that question.
That's a valid question. We actually think that's a really good question. We're already dead, but there's a series of dimensions, and as we move through the bands of light and dark, we become aware of this layering effect of more dense, less dense, more dense, less dense, more dense, less dense dimension, and we're all dead. But when we are in a denser dimension and we transition, we move up into a less dense dimension. That's called dying, quote unquote. It's just an interdimensional transfer into less density, and we're held accountable. And the presences who believe themselves to be living lives in that less dense dimension will also transition into an even less dense dimension. It actually almost comes down to self-definition. Are you defining yourself as dead or alive? And if you're defining yourself as dead, there is a life you have finished.
That's true.
That you're still accountable for, and probably what's happening is the clock is running for you to finish your accounting of that life that already ended.
That's true.
And the sooner you account for yourself, the better. Actually, the bad karma just accumulates until we deal with it. And if we are defining ourselves as alive, then quite obviously there's a life that's going to end, and we're going to be held accountable. We're all 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 accountable. Everything is recorded. Higher powers watch everything, and they actually do have power over us, and this is totally fine. The law of cause and effect is real. This is totally fine. We're going to die. We're going to be held accountable. There's a disaster dead ahead for all of us. Now, what are each of us as individuals going to do to make it right?